Today on the channel, the best of 2024 videos roll on, and this time a first-time video, top 5 wrestling referee figures of 2024.
And the spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever!
Welcome everyone, Kyle here, and welcome back to the channel for another Best of 2024 Countdown video. And in today's video, we're rolling up our sleeves for the working man, as we got my top 5 wrestling referee figures of 2024, which seems like a weird list to do. We've never been able to do that before, because historically, over the years, for whatever reason, we have not got a lot of referees. Every once in a blue moon, we'll get one, but historically, we don't get very many wrestling referee figures. Now, that is because of likenesses, different contracts, and I guess probably people thinking, hey, there's no demand for them out there. But I know as a little kid, I had the LJN referee. We've had a few since then, but like I said, very few. But 2024 is where kind of the floodgates opened a little bit from Mattel and other companies, giving us wrestling referee figures finally, and that's what we're counting down here today. My top 5 wrestling referee figures. Always fun to have that third man in the ring, be it a guest referee or a traditional referee. Always a lot of fun there. And of course, we're going to do this countdown like we do all the other ones on the channel. We're going to start at number 5, work our way to number 1. Number 1 being my favorite wrestling referee figure of 2024. And of course, I'll ask you to put your list in the comments down below. And of course, put them in order. That's the hard part. That is the fun part too. So without further ado, let's dive into it. Let's kick it off at number 5. All right, we begin the countdown, of course, at number 5, and the number 5 figure comes to us from Figure Collections. A little retro wrestling here today for, of course, Mike Chioda, one of those referees that was around a lot longer than you think about it. I always remember him during the Attitude Era, and I feel like I don't remember him as much from the classic 80s era because his hairdo was totally different. He had the long hair with the blonde mullet where it got short and sweet in the Attitude Era. But Mike Chioda, a guy been around a heck of a long time, and Figure Collections gave us a figure for him with interchangeable hands to do different counts. A very good figure. Is it great? I don't know about that. We've seen better retro style figures, but the cool thing about this figure here is you can put this with any of the retro lines to have a referee, and this is a very plain Jane, non-showy version of a referee. So you can mix him with your Mattels. You can mix him with your KWK, your grapplers and gimmicks, your zombies, and so forth. I feel for that reason he warrants a spot on this list here. Is it the greatest likeness? It's okay. It's okay. But it is cool to get a wrestling referee figure. Now, we did get Zombie Sailor's Earl Hebner last year. You can also pair those two up if that is a thing you want to do. But a very good, respectable retro, very plain Jane, I guess, referee in Mike Chioda coming in at number 5. Next up in our referee countdown, we go to Mattel Main Event Series 143, and we go to the Chase edition of this performer. We take it all the way back to WCW for special guest referee enforcer, Mr. T. So we got Mr. T from his WCW days, so perfect for your WCW shelf, of course. This one gets held back down the list because if they would have gave him that stocking hat, that kind of Santa sleeping hat, that would have been absolutely next level. That would have carried this one up probably to number 1 if he had his Sleepy Time Mr. T hat. Unfortunately, he did not, so this one's going to come in at number 4. But a lot of people forget his time in WCW. He had a couple appearances, dare I say a cup of coffee, and pretty cool for Mattel to put this out there. Now, much like Muhammad Ali, Mr. T, they had him under the umbrella. They said, we're going to get everything we can out of Mr. T. That's why you're seeing stuff like this. But very, very fun, very, very cool, and a bit of a sleeper figure that was kind of forgotten and fairly hard to find as far as main event figures go. This one came out very much the tail end, like the last week of December last year, so it missed countdowns, and if people did find this at retail, it was in 2024. So a little asterisk with this one, but I count this as a 2024 release. So there it is, Mr. T Chase Edition, WCW. We've hit the halfway mark in our referee countdown. To get our list together, put it in the comments down below. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel for all the best of 2024 videos and so much more. Check them out, subscribe to the channel. But here we are at number 3, the halfway point, and we're feeling a little bit of that Iron Maiden deja vu once again, as we got Mr. T 143 again, this time the regular edition. And a lot of people remember, of course, when they think of Mr. T in wrestling, they go all the way back to WrestleMania 1, then maybe the Piper era from there. But he also came back a couple other times over the years as a referee during one of those times. And of course, we'll never forget his Hall of Fame speech. We need that, where he talks about his mom. I'm here for that figure in the future. But a very fun Mr. T, a little funner than the last one here, a little bit more colorful, which brings this one further up to the dance. And honestly, I want to say more memorable, his WWF referee thing, but when you add that Santa sleeping hat, maybe the WCW one was more memorable. I'm not sure. But either way, no matter how you slice it, Mr. T 143 regular edition comes in at number 3. We're already to the number 2 spot in the countdown. We're starting to separate the men from the boys now in the referee game here, because number 2 comes to us from WWE Mattel, comes to us from the Elite line. This guy was a Build-A-Figure and a heck of a donut shop owner. Who are we talking about? We're going to referee John Cone, and apparently they like this figure so much. This is being re-released from the vault in 2025 with this edition and a SmackDown ref edition. So we're going to have more John Cones, 2 more John Cones in 2025 if you missed out on this one for whatever reason. But John Cone I always think of as a newer referee, but not necessarily the case, as he was around a heck of a long time. Now he works in the office for WWE, but very cool to get a John Cone figure all these years later. I know, good friend of the channel, Gage Octane, yes, Gage Octane, Midwest Professional Wrestling legend, he really needed this in his collection because him and John Cone had a bitter blood feud back in the day on the indies. We'll talk about that one of those days, maybe, possibly. But John Cone, very cool to get in the Elite line. So cool, in fact, we're getting 2 more next year, as I said. But we don't get a lot of referees, and this kind of started the changing of the guard a little bit, as we got another referee this year as well. But very happy to get this one. Very cool for kids that are playing out there to have a referee that doesn't take away from things. It's just a referee that was actually a real referee in the WWE to oversee their fig fed. How about that? But John Cone, a fabulous Build-A-Figure, worth a pickup. Coming in at number 2, which means there can only be one. What is the number 1 referee figure of 2024? Well, stay tuned. Here we go. We're at the number 1 spot, the number 1 referee figure of 2024. Once again, get your list together. Put it in the comments down below. Put it in order. That's the hard part. That is the fun part. Let's get after it right there. And of course, don't forget to like this video. You made it this far. Give it the old thumbs up. But the number 1 referee figure, probably no stranger to many people here. And he did beat out John Cone for me because I have such a longer history with this character as form of watching TV. I remember him as a referee. I remember him moving into management. I remember him moving back to referee, then into, of course, SmackDown general manager. You know who we're talking about. We're thugging and bugging all over the place with one Teddy Long. Yes, Teddy Long finally getting this figure. We got a general manager Teddy Long way back in the day. I think it was a Toys R Us Build-A-Figure, if I'm not mistaken. But now we get Teddy as a referee, and man, I'm here for that. I'm here for that. Very, very fun, very, very cool. And we talked about John Cone getting a SmackDown version in the future with the blue shirt. Would love to see Teddy Long get that as well, because let's be honest, Teddy goes to a lot of conventions. He'd love to sign some figures. He can't sign a Build-A-Figure. Let's give him the SmackDown one in packaging. Makes it different, a bit of a re-release, and it gives Teddy something to sign. I'm here for that. Hopefully that happens next year. We'll see what happens with Mattel. But Teddy Long, old Peanut Head himself, his time managing Doom, the Skyscrapers, general manager for SmackDown, Hall of Famer, referee for tons of different promotions. Definitely a Hall of Fame career and a very memorable career over the years for me, and easily the number 1 referee figure in 2024 for me as well. Bring on more Teddy Long figures. I'm here for that. I want a manager Teddy Long figure to put with my Skyscrapers or my Doom figures. Hopefully Doom figures are on the way. Right now I have customs. That'll have to do for now, but would love to see Doom, would love to see Teddy Long from the old NWA WCW days. But we'll stick with this for now as the number 1 Build-A-Figure, or number 1 referee figure of 2024 is one Teddy Long. So there's my list. Once again, put your list in the comments down below. Don't forget to like this video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Turn on the old notification bell. We got videos every single day and then some. We got even more content for you over on Patreon. Your best way to support the channel, of course. Pro Wrestling Tees, search Kyle Peterson. Check out my book, now available on Kindle. It is the complete guide to the Jakks Class Superstars series by yours truly. About 700 pages of content there for you. Sir Paul64 on the X, _Kyle_Peterson on Threads and Instagram. And of course, you can catch me thugging and a bugging like a young Teddy Long over there on TikTok. So for the top 5 referee figures of 2024, I'm Kyle. See you guys all real soon.